Monty McNaughton is an MP with the Lambton Kent Middlesex, and he's been looking at, he's also the Labour critic for the PC party here in Ontario, and he's been looking at some money that was dedicated to what they call the Nursing Retention Fund, but it's not getting spent. Where is that money going? So Monty's here. Monty, first tell me what the Nursing Retention Fund is.
Well, back in 2005, under then Premier Dalton McGuinty, they set up a nursing retention fund. It was a $40 million fund that was supposed to be used for nurses, frontline nurses who were losing their jobs to get retraining to work somewhere else within the healthcare system or find employment elsewhere.
Yeah, and would it also be applied for graduating nurses, for instance, that were being attracted to go to the States and keep them in Canada, keep them in Ontario?
That could have been part of it, but I think mostly we're seeing throughout communities across Ontario, frontline nurses being laid off. The purpose, the fund was earmarked to help those people find jobs elsewhere within the healthcare
system. Oh, so retraining.
System.
So how much has been, of the $40 million, how much has been spent?
So we know since 2005, only $236,000 has been spent. But
$236,000?
That's all.
Wow.
And we know that the fund has racked up $6 million worth of expenses. So clearly, that's why we need the Auditor General to come in to look at this fund.
Who is racking up $6 million worth of expenses?
The Liberals set up this fund, as I said, in 2005, and they handed it off to some union executives, friends, of course, of the Ontario Liberals, first under McGuinty, now under Wynne. So they've been managing this fund, and they've racked up, as I said, $6 million worth of expenses.
So presumably the unions have taken that money into their coffers of some descript and then haven't spread it out? Or you don't even know?
No, of course not. I mean, this is why the alarm bells have been sounding regarding this fund. There was no incentive to get this money out the door because the original contract says whatever money is remaining of the $40 million would be turned over to some union executives. So the frontline nurses are the ones being punished here.
To me, it looks like a cash grab by the unions, just the optics.
Yeah, I mean, this is why the Auditor General needs to come in. Number one, we need to know if this is the only trust fund that the Liberals have set up. We've heard the last 24 hours that there may be a number of these trust funds set up in other ministries across Kathleen Wynne's government.
Really? So it's not that the government is mismanagement. They give it to their friends to manage and then it disappears.
Exactly.
Okay, now the Auditor General is the only person that can answer it? Can't the government answer this? Can't the government go and ask their friends, hey, listen, what did you do with that money I lent you?
Well, of course, I was up yesterday in the House asking a number of times about this, getting nowhere with Health Minister Deb Matthews and Premier Kathleen Wynne. I wrote a letter yesterday afternoon to the Auditor General asking to meet with her and for her to investigate this, and I will be meeting with the Auditor General tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but okay, so how did Wynne and Matthews respond? Because it wasn't their government, that they might not have been the minister at the time. They could easily say it's not us.
Of course, originally Deb Matthews blamed this on George Smitherman, who originally set up this fund. But we know that Deb has been in control of this fund since she's been the health minister in 2009, and turned a blind eye to this. Quite frankly, they've known about this for a number of years and have ignored it until I brought it forward yesterday.
How did it come to your attention?
A whistleblower came to my office a number of months ago. We had to do some homework on this fund, do some research and find out, the $40 million dollar amount. I had to talk to some frontline nurses, and it came out yesterday.
Wow, isn't that something? You say that in the last 24 hours, there have been other instances? What are these, whistleblowers as well? Yeah,
we're hearing from a number of people across different ministries who have said that the Liberal government under Dalton McGuinty have set up trust funds. They're suspicious to me. I'd like to know, and hopefully the Auditor General can look into it, if these trust funds have been set up in other ministries like they have been with this nursing retention fund.
How much of this is also related to the accountability of unions? I mean, here you've got two nurses' unions potentially managing this money on behalf of the province, and yet nobody knows where it went. I mean, are the unions accountable?
Absolutely, and I mean, in the health ministry specifically, we've seen the Orange scandal, we've seen e-health, where billions of dollars have been wasted and unaccounted for. And that's my concern here with this nurses' retention fund. As I said earlier, dollars are precious when it comes to the tax dollars going into healthcare. We need to ensure that every dollar is spent on frontline care, specifically for nurses. And I think if I was a nurse in the province of Ontario today, I would be questioning why this fund wasn't promoted for me as a nurse to be used.
Especially one who might have lost their job. You know, it's funny, you had a whistleblower come in and talk about that. We had the budget leak that came out because bureaucrats were asked to do the dirty work for government. I mean, do you get the sense that the government, in terms of the politicians, are not being supported by bureaucrats right now because they see the abuse?
I do get that sense. I mean, look, this government has been in power for almost 12 years now. They're putting their political interests ahead of the people's interests. And I think when any government does that, people are going to sound the alarm bells. And with this Nurses Retention Fund, that's exactly what they've done.
Well, Monty, we'll see if we get some answers on this. It'd be interesting if you get anything before the budget comes out. Not likely, is it?
Well, we'll keep working on it. We'll see.
That's what you get paid to do, Monty. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Monty.